Hello. So a while ago, I was working on like the editor mod, and I uploaded it a while ago, and plenty of people have already noticed that I uploaded it. But I never made a video, even saying that I did that, and there's no like showcase on what it does. So I'm gonna try to do a really quick showcase of kind of what this mod is doing. Um, so right off the bat, you'll notice that there's like this level creator name field. You don't have to worry about it. It literally doesn't matter unless your level is official. I just kind of wanted to point out that it's there because you're in dev mode, and because you're in dev mode, this mod allows you to have access to certain things that you wouldn't usually have. Like just for example, you have the option to look at every single type of music track that you're able to use. By default, you usually don't see the different versions of abstraction that you can use, or the different versions of Abyss, and that's because usually these songs were played in like specific moments in the adventure campaign. Like for the Abyss, it's like remember when you're in the Abyss tunnel, the horror tunnel. Well, this is the song that plays while you're in there, and so you can actually set your music to that song if you want to. Just kind of keep in mind that these music tracks might not loop, so if you want to use these, and you probably want to also mess with other audio things to make sure the game doesn't go completely silent. And yeah, another thing that is now available in this mod is the dev folder. There it is. So dev folder is not usually available to you, obviously, this is because it's the dev folder. They're not going to show you all the dev things that they use, and that's because some of these objects have either gone unused because they're super old and they don't use them anymore, or that they were intending to use them and just never got the chance to use it, or they figured that they're not really relevant to what somebody would need to use, so they just kind of left it out, so you don't have to. It doesn't like crowd up space in the normal object folders. But since the dev folder is enabled, you can actually hop in the dev folder and kind of see what the devs had in there. It's also very unorganized. But there's a few objects in here that you may have seen used, like this one, the planet with, I know you can't really see it because the garbled up text is blocking it, but the planet with spherical gravity is in here. You just move it, you can actually probably read it in here. You may have seen this object in like a workshop level or something. Usually you would need to go inside of a an official level and kind of copy it from there and then use it. But if you have the dev folder, then you could just spawn it in. Also, like this end zone, you may have seen this end zone be used in several places. Zenith uses this end zone, and it's not available to you by default. Well, now it's available. And time to show off a few other things as well. So let me spawn in a cube and a spawn in a spline is also a useful thing. So something that the mod does is the change track type tool. You could use this to change your track type to something else. Well, now you can change it to any track type, any spline that is in the game. You can change the spline to anything else. So before, Empire Transit Window 2 was not available in this list. Well, now it is. Obviously the list is way bigger now, so you kind of have a giant clunky menu to deal with, but it gives you all of the options instead of the slightly limited list that was there before. You may have also noticed that there's actually some extra tools in here, so this will allow you to do some things that you usually can't do. Like in this case, if I were to duplicate a track, I could actually select both of them and then use this tool to attach a track to a track. Just be aware that doing this can be a little finicky. Definitely test your level in sprint mode if you ever do something like this, because it might not work properly when like compared to when you tested it in the editor. So just be a little aware of that. Like, there's a reason why the devs don't let you do that, because it gets finicky and weird. So another thing that you can do, let me just duplicate these two objects. So when you group two objects together, there's actually a few extra things here that you don't usually see. So when you group an object, you might notice that it's a little hard to like edit all of the properties of an object unless you do inspect children all. Well, this will actually allow you to hop right into the properties of one of the objects that are in the group. So if I inspect, CubeGS number 1, well, now it has the CubeGS1 selected. I can even change its position if I want to. I can change its texture scale. I can change its color individually from the other. So that's a useful tool for being able to do that. And you can go back to the parent by clicking this button up here. And then this center point position will allow you to change the center point of a group. Because sometimes center points might be a little weird when you make a group. So this will actually allow you to shift where that center point is, and it might fix that center point for you. You can even like rotate it if it's not rotated in the specific way that you want it to be. All right. And another thing that's available, so when you click on this, there's actually some extra options down here. So let me show off merge first. So notice how this group's box is, this specific size. Well, merge will allow you to merge like two simple objects of the same type together to kind of make them one big thing. So in the case for CubeGS, what? Oh, never mind. I have to ungroup it first. I'm being silly. I have to ungroup the cubes. So yeah, when I merge them, now they just become one big block, and that block reflects the size of the group box here. Like if I control Z it back into place and then merge them again, that box is the same as this box, if that makes any sense. Okay. Another thing to show off. Right, the other features in here. So there's the cube to planes feature. So let me ungroup this and just select the one cube. So cube to planes is exactly what it sounds like. You can change the cube into a group of planes. This group will be called plane CubeGS, and you can actually notice that there's 6 planes in this group. So if I were to ungroup it, now it's 6 planes, and I can do that. So if you want to be able to do that, there you go. The divider tool, let me show that off. The divider tool will allow you to, well, divide an object. So I'm not going to change any of these values. I'm just going to run it so you can kind of get a quick showcase of what that does. So it changed this cube into, it's divided it into evenly spaced cubes. So if you ever need to do something like that, then, well, now you can. Just keep in mind that this only works with like specific simples that can be divided like that. That's not going to work with like an empire building or something. That's not what it's used for. And that's really all I'm going to show. Actually, no, that's not all I'm going to show. The other thing I was going to show was the number limits. So did you notice how big these decimal numbers are? 5490196. The game doesn't usually go up that high with decimal numbers. Well, the mod actually allows you to change the decimal limit up to 10 if you want it. Instead of having it only go 3 decimal places, you can go 10 decimal places out. And another thing that the number limits mod does, well, actually, the number limits is different from the decimal placement thing, but another thing that the mod does is that it actually allows you to set things to negative when you couldn't before. So usually you're not able to set a color property to negative. I was able to just now. This actually allows you to do something fancy, like if I wanted to change the glow to -1, -1, -1 to make like a weird black glow, well, you can actually do that now. if you have the, no number limits enabled. There are certain objects that have their values, like their numbers, clamped by the game itself. So always test things in sprint mode to make sure it works exactly how you want it to if you're messing with the number limits of stuff. Something like this color change is perfectly fine. The game reads this one with no problem, but there's like certain edge cases out there that you might run into. So again, always test your level in sprint mode first. And now I've shown off pretty much everything I want to. There's a bunch of other options that are available to you. Like you can turn off this level creator name field that is completely useless if you want. You can just turn that off. There's no problem. You can make it so, you know how the cursor, when you're placing it, that it actually collides with the background? You can turn that off if you want to. Excuse me. And yeah, there's many other options there. I would highly recommend reading the description of this mod on the thunderstore or on its GitHub page, because it breaks down like every single thing that this mod does with a lot more detail than I'm going to do in this video, because if I tried to go over everything that it does in this video, that would take forever, and I kind of wanted this video to be quick. So that's basically it. Just one more thing before I close this video out. Please be wary of the second page. So actually, let me go there right now. The second page, the dreaded second page. So when you're going to the options for this mod, right? The first page is all stuff that is, completely fine. These are good options to mess with. I showed off a good amount of these options already. But the second page has a lot of stuff that you might not want to have on, because it can either corrupt your level files. So that would make it so you would have to go to like a backup file just to recover it, and that might not be at a good spot for you. It might cause errors in game, which errors don't always crash the game, but they might make your level behave super weird, or just make the level lag for no reason, or they might crash the game, and that's all annoying stuff. Pretty much every option here is pretty much not really safe to turn on, except for remove level creator field, because that just removes the useless level creator field that's there. And hidden components is also mostly safe, but those components are usually hidden for a reason. Those are components that for the most part, you don't have to mess with it. For the hidden components thing, you might also, if you have that on, to always test a level in sprint mode, because something that happens in the editor might not happen in sprint mode. So just be careful about that. Definitely test things in sprint mode if you have this on. But there are other options here, like unlimited add component. It has a warning in the little description down here that it can create strange behavior with certain objects. So, always test it in arcade mode. There are warnings on several of these, and you want to pay attention to them, because they can actually get your game to crash. This warning doesn't tell you that the game can crash, but potentially it can cause the game to crash. It can definitely make a level lag more than it's not supposed to, just because it's like spouting this bunch of errors. I'm making this sound a lot worse than it really is for the most part. For the most part, it's fine as long as you're being careful, but just be aware that some of these things can crash the game, especially enable hidden folder. Enable hidden folder will crash the game sometimes. Do not have this option on an important level file. You might either corrupt your level file if you use something from the hidden folder that you're not supposed to spawn, or it would just crash the game, and it's annoying. So just be a little wary. These are options that you can mess with, but just be a little careful with it. And yeah, I wanted to at least get that warning in before I before I end the video, because yeah, that's really it. So yeah, happy editor mod day. I don't know. What am I saying? I'm gonna end the video. Have fun with the mod.